Hello, you're listening to Spirit Talk Show with Doyle. I am Doyle. That's why I said it. We are reading AI generated stories, trying them some new things in season 4, trying to make the stories a little bit more personal, and also listening to people's life stories. If we spend the whole time talking about your life story and cool things, that's fine too. I am back with Shawn Wickens in the studio with me. And Shawn, thank you for coming back for the second half here.
Happy to be here again.
So we heard a promise. People like tuned in for the promise of
Yes.
minds being blown. So, okay. So you have time travel theories. In the previous episode, we were talking about time travel, your book, Time Travel Blueprints, that is available on Amazon right now. And you said, is it on the domain timetravelblueprints.com?
Time Machine Blueprints.
Time
Yes.
Machine,
Yes.
timemachineblueprints.com. That's where you can. And would you like to give any information about where people get in touch with you and your handles and anything you'd like to share right now?
Sure. My Instagram is Time Traveling Stoned. That's an easy way to find me. But
Okay.
yeah, if you just Google Time Machine Blueprints, I probably come up
Okay. Well,
somewhere.
you definitely do.
Yeah.
I found a lot. So, okay. So mind is previously unblown. So
Okay.
that is your task if you choose to accept it. So
Sure. All right. So I have, we're both familiar with the Fermi paradox,
hmm
I'm sure, where
well,
if
we
the
probably should. Yeah.
universe
Go ahead.
if the universe is as vast as it is,
Yeah.
and a sun of our size is, you know, a common occurrence, as well as planets are orbiting around it, where is intelligent life in the universe?
hmm
Right? That's what the Fermi paradox says. This really isn't time travel related
Yeah.
per se, but it does dip into it a little bit. So, all right. So, where is the rest of the intelligent life in the universe? Well, I think I have an idea, and
Okay.
it's that yes, those distances are vast and they are great, and they're definitely difficult to traverse.
hmm
But I think it's possible that there is other intelligent life in the universe that does access a higher dimension, and that's where we need to get to in order to sort of meet them. So the reason we haven't met anyone else yet, and the reason that nobody has traveled to us, is because we just haven't found the right way to travel in order to meet them. And it's not traveling at a distance per se, but I think it's maybe hitting an elevated dimension. So
So
that's where everyone else is.
So I heard a physicist say, I had a physicist teacher in college, and he said he thinks the reason we haven't, and there's billions of intelligent life planets in there, and he thinks the reason we haven't is because if you know a beach, just every grain of sand is a sun.
Right.
We have communicated about the size of a quarter. That's the area
Mm-hmm.
that. So it's possible we just missed them, right? And we're just
Of
not getting
course.
far enough. And it's possible because it sounds like what you're talking about is beings who existed and evolved millions of years ahead of us, but like presumably there's like people out there, there's civilizations that are in the same level as us, right now,
Right.
or less, or maybe a little bit more. But like those beings sound like, I mean, I think you were saying that they evolved to a point that they're in a different dimension,
Or they created a technology that lets them access a different dimension.
and what does this
Uh,
dimension do?
what is it? I don't know what it does, but that's
Okay.
where we might be able to, if we figure out how to get there. That's where everyone else is hanging out. They're still back at their own planets,
Yeah, yeah.
but you know,
So do you think in our
th-
during our lifetime we will actually contact somebody from a civilization from a different planet?
um,
Or have we already?
yeah, have we are. That's the fun thing to ponder.
Yeah.
I mean, it's difficult to make these kinds of guarantees and predictions, but also, not only do I call myself a stoner comedian, I call myself, um, an optimistic dreamer.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that it's easy to limit ourselves as to what we think is possible. And you know,
Okay.
I don't do this to sort of get too crazy and out there, but I think if we open ourselves up to a little bit more
Okay.
magic and mysticism and excitement, I think we might be able to surprise ourselves a little more often.
Wow. So, okay. I would say partially blown, partially, but I
That's
think
fine.
partially, yeah, but I mean, there was a nudge there, okay.
Good, good.
There was something. Do you have another theory, or was that the big one?
Um, Another theory. I mean, they'll it'll come out organically, I
Okay, okay.
suppose.
So, well, I think you should read a story.
Sure.
One thing I'm trying in this season is when a person can be found online and they have a body of work, and you've done some comedy and stuff. You can find information about you online, and so I
Hmm.
had GPT look you up and write a
Yes.
tribute story to you. So we'll see. Now, of course, you're welcome to stop and say, "Wait, that's total crap," or whatever.
Okay.
Or so I want to tell you the experience I've had with people reading these stories. I've only done it about 3, 4 times. One person thought like, "Oh, it was a very bland, like almost like an instruction manual for batteries, like read like
Sure,
that."
sure.
And one person was moved to tears because
Wow.
I have to say that I felt a little bit bad because he was an older guy, and I think that he thought I wrote the tribute to him, and I don't think
Ah,
he fully grasped. And I was thinking like, "Oh no, I think he thinks I wrote it," but he still it was a touching tribute. So here is. So you ready to read a story, Sean?
of course, yes.
Okay, so what I'm going to be I'm going to be is that do you need me to zoom it in, or can you read that okay?
No, that's good.
Okay, I'm going to like scroll as you go. Okay, so here is your story. Go ahead and read when
Got
you're
it.
ready.
A tribute to Shawn Wickens, the man who time traveled to the Haiku Circus and back. Once upon a time, in a dimension not so far away, a man named Shawn Wickens decided to defy the law of physics. I'd love that. I just decided to, or
Decided, yeah,
this guy
I,
decided to do it. Yeah.
that's how that works.
Decided decided to defy the laws of physics, literature, and traditional comedy. He wasn't your typical comedian, no. Sean was the kind of guy who looked at a theater and thought, what if it was just bad on purpose?
Well, I think we decided that you don't do it bad on purpose, but okay.
One fateful evening, Sean stumbled upon a blueprint for a time machine. Well, it was actually just an IKEA manual for a shelving unit, but Sean had always been good at improvising. With nothing but an Allen wrench, a copy of Haiku Circus, and an unwavering belief in his own hilarity, he set off into the unknown. The
But
Time Machine Adventure. The first stop on Sean's journey was the Haiku Circus, a magical realm where every joke had to follow the 575 syllable structure. The locals greeted him warmly, reciting, Shawn Wickens has come, master of chaos and laughs. Welcome, funny man. Inspired, Sean performed an entire comedy set in haiku, leaving his audience in stitches and slightly confused. But as much as he loved the circus, he knew his destiny lay elsewhere.
mm,
I'm not crying yet, but this
okay,
is
no,
enjoyable.
okay.
The Bad Theater Festival universe. Next, his time machine landed in a parallel dimension where every play was a masterpiece until Sean got there.
Sorry.
This won't do. No,
Yeah.
this won't do, he said, setting up a festival where scripts were required to include typos, plot holes, and at least one interpretive dance about squirrels.
What?
The locals, baffled but intrigued, watched as Sean directed Romeo and Juliet the musical, but everyone's a lamp. It was a smashing success. What a twist, right?
Yeah, wow.
Uh, it was a smashing success with reviews like, I think I hated it, but I also cried.
Mm.
And this is the future of art. The Stoned Genius debacle. During another time jump, Sean found himself on an intergalactic version of the Stoned Genius podcast.
Mm.
I've been there.
Okay.
Shout out to Ro. Hosted by a sentient potted plant.
Okay.
Here, he discussed his theories on time travel, bad theater, and why bananas are inherently funny. Doesn't sound like me, but all right.
Okay.
The plant laughed so hard it sprouted a new leaf. Wow. Okay. Returning home. When Shawn finally returned to our timeline, he brought with him a message. Comedy doesn't have to be good to be great. In fact, the worse it is, the better it might be. Well, that's interesting as a quick aside, because, if something is funny now,
Mm-hmm.
not funny now, it might age well in the future, as opposed to things that are funny now sometimes don't hold up. But anyway,
I've seen some
with
stuff on shows that are that are problematic shows from the
oh,
80s and
sure.
90s. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you want to do comedy in the future now, try doing something that's not funny now.
Okay.
Anyway,
Oh, hey, good
um,
idea.
with that, he continued his work, publishing books, producing festivals, and turning ordinary moments into unforgettable laughter. People marveled at his ability to blend absurdity with authenticity, like a stand-up philosopher who moonlights as an interpretive artist. And so Shawn Wickens remains a legend, proving that human is universal, bad theater is a noble cause, and time travel is totally possible if you have an Allen wrench and a dream. The end, or just the beginning, depending on the timeline. Wow,
I like that last line. That was kind of funny.
definitely.
So, okay, I'll give you a moment because I know you're verklempt. You're about to cry, but so, um, okay, so that was taken from all the bios of your books, and I tried to write a tribute. So, is
Yes.
it what's inaccurate, what's accurate?
Well, I mean, uh,
Is the
none of
banana?
that stuff happened
Yeah,
really,
okay,
but it did touch on a lot of sort of artistic achievements that I've been a part of. So it
okay.
was an enjoyable, you know,
Well, that's cool. That's cool that
uh,
it. I mean, I was going to ask you, like, where did it find the squirrel thing and the banana thing? Was that something related to you that
that
I found online, or was it just
no, I
made?
think that might have just been ChatGPT throwing some random stuff there to see what works.
I do think it's funny. You talked about the podcast, the Genius podcast, and and you shouted out your friend, and then immediately read that he was a sentient potted plant. So,
I hope. I think he'd feel. I think he'd be happy with that.
what's his name? And this is the natural podcast that exists called the
That is
Stone
the
Genius
Stone
Pod.
Genius. Yes,
Uh,
that's my buddy Roe out in Kansas City. He is a Stone Genius. He's a Mensa member, so
oh, wow,
he has proof.
and the show it's on like Apple and Spotify and all
And
that stuff.
Spotify, yes, you can look up the Stone
Okay,
Genius.
we'll look up the Stone Genius, and if you are Ro, if you're listening to this, please mention my show
Yeah.
on your podcast. Okay, so what I want to do, I have another story that I created based on your How to Lose Your Virginity. Basically it took the description online and it wrote the
Yes.
story, but I also want to do this thing where it wrote haikus where we take turns reading haikus. So
Fun.
I think we should do that next, and then we can go back and you can read the story about the How to Lose Your Virginity. Okay. So
Sure.
so I'll start because it's technically my turn, but I've kind of started to let my guests talk more than me. I think like you're the talent. Why am I talking so much in my shows? Okay. So this is called 20 Haikus inspired by Shawn Wickens. Stage lights softly glow. Bad theater takes the spotlight. Art dares to let go.
That's beautiful. That's that's a better description of Bad Theater Fest than I could have done. All right, now back
Okay.
to the haikus.
Yeah.
Time machine blueprints. Blank pages hold dreams and jokes. Future laughs await.
That really kind of caught the essence of what you were. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Turkey leg in hand, a wizard finds love at fair. Renaissance romance. Did you do Renaissance fairs?
No, but I live close to a medieval times. I've been there before.
No.
It's a fun,
Yeah, I've been.
dinner and a show.
Yeah, I've gone to the one in Anaheim. Yeah, in California. Yeah. Okay, so this is your one, I think.
Virgin tales unfold. Weird, wild, awkward, bittersweet. First times shape us all.
Hmm. Do they? That's funny.
Well, first times, it's not really necessarily about sex. It's
Yeah.
it's first times.
So improv sparks a flame. Junior varsity thrives still. Years of shared laughter. That's pretty on the nose there.
Yeah. Festivals of bad. Revel in the risk of fail. Brilliance hides in flaws.
I like that one because I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what you're going for. Because I think there's some plays that have intentionally the design is that they kind of fail and that comedy, but
Oh, yeah,
you're doing these plays that would conventionally be considered bad, but some of them are good within you know, within the flaws, right? There's something good there.
definitely.
Cool. Okay, future of laughs. Comedy meets time travel. Blueprints in his hand. That was kind of cool.
That's good. AI shapes the stage. Comedy and tech unite a digital age. That first, one of the first rhymes, I think,
Oh yeah.
or
Well,
that one, a rhyme that jumped out at me.
actually, yeah. Do you use AI for your plays?
No, but I use ChatGPT to help me with, press releases or for
Okay.
proofreading things. But we also, you know, we I'll discuss some time travel things with it just to see what it thinks.
Wow, that's cool. Okay. Strange coffee table, books of humor and blank space. Invite endless talk.
So true. Okay. Dinner scene parody. Groucho, Gilda, Pryor laugh. Time bends for a feast.
Hmm. Who's Gilda? Is that
Gilda
comedian?
Radner.
Okay. Theater of risk. Bad becomes a badge of pride. Freedom in the flaws. I seem to be getting the bad theater ones all the time. Okay.
Improv nights unfold. Quick wit spins the fleeting gold. Laughter takes its hold.
Hey, three times rhyming there.
Yeah.
Look at that. Blank pages await. Dreamers sketch their future there. Time's secret untold. I think it's getting a little repetitive now, but we got two more.
Well, we just have two more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Comedy of life. Virgin stories loud and soft. Truths wrapped up in laughs.
A festival blooms, oddball films, and daring plays. Courage finds in its stage. Plays and stage kind of rhyme. It's like a
Yeah.
secondary. Oh, there's another one. Oh my gosh, look.
Oh, there's more.
There's more. Well, hey, we've come this far, baby.
Or this is a Mandela effect. Yeah.
Maybe it is.
What if time could bend? Sean's blueprints might hold the key, or a good prank's end.
Okay, we're going to do one more because I want you to get on to the other story for this sake of
Sure.
time. The, the first love's embrace, two condom wrapped fumbling hands, stories bridge us all. Hmm. So it's a little bit male centric that is talking about the first time is a
It
man,
is.
right? I mean, okay. So okay, so I took your the intro or your what you call it, the bio. It's not called the bio. What you call it on the description on
Synopsis?
synopsis. I couldn't think
Yes.
I think of that word. I took
Description works. Yeah.
description and I took that and I kept saying bio too, but that's when you're talking about a per person. So let's see what story it created based on your how to lose your virginity and how not to. So read when you're ready.
Okay. How to lose your virginity and how not to. In a dimly lit bookstore tucked away on the edge of town, a mysterious book sat on a shelf marked Adventurous Reading. Its bold title, How to Lose Your Virginity and How Not to, caught the eye of a timid college freshman named Ellie, who was far too embarrassed to actually pick it up. Instead, she hovered nearby, pretending to browse the meditation section while sneaking glances at the book. Ellie was on a quest, not necessarily to lose her virginity, at least not yet, but to demystify the concept. It seemed like everyone she knew had their first time story, often shared in whispers or shouted after one too many drinks at dorm parties. Hers, meanwhile, was a blank page, and Ellie felt woefully unprepared for when the day might come. The book's promise of real stories intrigued her, but the cashier was cute, and the thought of him seeing her buy it made her stomach churn. Instead, she snapped a blurry photo of the cover and made a mental note to look it up later. Meanwhile, across town. Wow, it sounds like a comic book now all of a
No.
sudden. Marty, a local bartender and self-proclaimed connoisseur of weird reads, had already devoured the book cover to cover. He kept it behind the bar, and occasionally flipped it open to read a random passage aloud whenever the conversation lulled. So get this, Marty announced one quiet Tuesday night to a trio of regulars. There's this guy in the book, Gary from Wisconsin, who lost his virginity at a Renaissance fair. He was dressed as a wizard, she was a barmaid, and apparently there was a turkey leg involved.
So is that in your book, or did it make it up completely?
No, it sounds artificial, but we'll
Okay.
see.
Okay.
A turkey leg, one patron asked, choking on his beer. Don't ask me for the details. I'm just the messenger, Marty said with a shrug. The book became a staple of Marty's bar, sparking debates, laughter, and the occasional confession. A chance encounter. Ellie, unable to shake her curiosity, eventually Googled the book and discovered that Marty's bar was hosting a first time story night inspired by How to Lose Your Virginity. The event invited attendees to share their stories, awkward, heartwarming, or downright bizarre. Nervous but intrigued, Ellie decided to go. She planned to sit quietly in the back, listen, and maybe, just maybe, get the courage to buy the book from Marty afterward. When she arrived, the bar was packed. Marty stood at the front holding the book like a preacher with a Bible. Welcome to Story Night, folks. Remember, this is a judgment-free zone. Your first time might have been a fairy tale, a horror story, or a comedy of errors. We're here for all of it. The stories began. A woman named Carla recounted how she'd tried to set the mood with candles, only to accidentally start a small fire when her partner knocked one over. A man named Pete shared how he'd spent hours fumbling with a condom wrapper, only to realize he'd opened it upside down.
Can you?
I suppose so,
Okay.
yeah. um, and then there was, that just shows that AI still has a lot to learn about life
Yeah.
in
So
some ways,
yeah, I'm not
and
sure.
love.
Isn't it just a wrapper? You can open it anyway. I mean, yeah.
And then there was Lily, who confessed that she'd pretended to have a special moment at prom only to end up playing Mario Kart with her crush instead.
That sounds fun, actually.
I wouldn't turn it down. Ellie's moment. Ellie found herself laughing, cringing, and for the first time feeling less alone. When Marty asked if anyone else wanted to share, her hand shot up before she could stop herself. She stood, heart pounding, and said, "Hi, I'm Ellie, and well, I haven't had my first time yet." The bar fell silent for a moment before Marty grinned and said, "Well, Ellie, you're ahead of the game. You've got a clean slate. That's a rare treasure, my friend." The room erupted in applause, and Ellie felt a weight lift. The aftermath. Ellie bought the book that night, and it became her secret guide, not just to the deed, but to life itself. The stories were raw, funny, and unapologetically human, reminding her that everyone's journey was different, messy, and uniquely their own. Years later, when Ellie finally added her own story to the mix, she smiled at the memory of that night in Marty's bar and how one book and a room full of strangers helped her realize that the first time, like most things in life, is never perfect, and that's what makes it perfect.
Hmm. Actually, yeah, that was really sweet story. I kind of like the stories of people's. Now, these aren't actual situations from your book. Like ChatGPT didn't actually read your book, did it? Or
No,
did
I
it?
don't think
It,
so.
it totally made these up. Okay, good. Because I did notice there was a PDF of your book online. I don't know if you know that.
No,
No,
I'll have to find that myself.
yeah, when you look it up, and when you look it up, you see it tells you if you type .pdf, you can find me.
Ah,
So that probably
thanks
does.
for the.
Yeah, it probably doesn't help your sales.
Probably not.
And now that I'm talking on the show too, no, guys, support your local artists. Do everything. It's a few bucks. We all should try to support each other in that way. So, Shawn, I could talk for you. I could talk to you for hours, and I would love you to come back. We're at 25 minutes, so we got 2 minutes to talk about something inspiring and cool here. So, is there something that comes to your mind?
Well, this whole time travel accident, uh, it in some ways, I think it writes itself. A friend of mine pointed out that I accidentally self-published an unauthorized prequel to H.G. Wells's Time Machine,
Oh yeah, yeah.
because before there would be a time machine, there'd have to be a time machine blueprints. I've decided to read, since that book is in the public domain, I've read the book Stoned. And by the time this um, episode is out, you should be able to find me reading The Time Machine Stoned
Yeah.
as an audiobook on Spotify.
Wow, that sounds really cool. And it's just like, and are you like having musings about, like higher musings about, wow, what does this mean? The Morlocks, and what do the Morlocks really symbolize? And what do they, are you actually musing like that? Or is it just you reading it, like straight reading
Not
it?
not in the middle. At the end of some chapters, I share some thoughts. It's mostly me stumbling through the late 19th century vocabulary, but I
Wow.
was stoned and I did read it, so mission accomplished.
Cool. And that's going to be available on Spotify. Yeah. So I heard that it said the time machine backwards, right? What's the backwards reference? Or did I read it wrong?
No, that was I before I came up with the Time Machine Stoned, I realized that I could also self-publish a book called The Time Machine Backwards. It is just H.G. Wells's Time Machine, but I reversed all the words. So you would have to read it backwards in order to read it forwards. It's
Wow.
just another kind of
Wow.
mind stab
Well,
in the world of time travel. That's
Sean.
available on Amazon too.
Okay, great. We'll look that up. So, Sean, thank you so much for coming on. It was a
Of
pleasure. I hope
course.
you'll could come back. And thank you, everybody, for listening. If you would like to get more information, please go to spirittalkshow.com and you can hear all the information there. And, Sean, thank you.
Thank you, Trevor.
Okay, good night.